it is our distinct pleasure to welcome into the podcast. You've heard his name probably more on this podcast than every other media outlet on the planet combined times 10. He's our guy. We're super excited for him to be a part of this team moving forward, a part of this organization, and now a part of the High Hopes family. Aidan Miller on the pod. What up, man? How are you, pal?
What an intro. Hey, I appreciate
it's deserved, man. It's deserved. I mean, we went and freaking brought a couple hundred people to watch you play a game in Wilmington.
It was
pretty neat, man. And I hope it shows you how excited people are about, what you're going to bring to this city and all that. So let's dive in, man. Like, just to start off the top, I mean, what's the last year plus been like for you? I mean, I'm sure for you, it feels like you were in high school like a second ago, and now you're like, on prospect lists and playing for the Phillies organization and all that. What's that like to happen so quickly in such a short period of time?
It's been awesome. To be honest, I didn't really expect it to be like this. So much has happened, so many good things in the past year, and I've met so many awesome people like you guys, and I've traveled to so many cool places and learned how to do my own laundry. It's been a really cool and fun year.
Yeah, I'm just curious, like what has been like the biggest adjustment for you? Because obviously you come out of high school, you're one of the best prospects, and then all of a sudden you're facing kids who are like 23, 24. They all throw 95 plus, it seems like, and they're all spinning the baseball every which way. What would you say was the biggest adjustment that you had this year going through the minor leagues?
I think the biggest thing is playing every day. When you're playing in high school, the travel ball circuit, you play maybe 3-4 times a week. And then you have 2 weeks off in between tournaments. And, the minor leagues, it's 6 days a week. Every single day you're out there playing 9 innings. And, at first it takes a little while to get adjusted to. But, once you realize once you get a set routine and, you're eating the right foods, getting enough sleep, and you're doing the right things, and you start to adjust pretty quickly. But yeah, no, definitely the daily grind is definitely the biggest thing.
What about the spotlight? I mean, it's one thing to be a prospect in high school and, you have scouts paying attention and you're playing in these, big, like, tournaments with other players and stuff. But it's a whole other thing when you know that you are in an organization trying to work your way up to live the dream and play in the big leagues. How much different is it? Like, does it feel bigger playing in these games? Does it feel more important in that way?
Honestly, no. And I think if you treat it like that, that's when you can start to feel a little bit of pressure. I feel like I've been in the spotlight since I was 12 years old, playing on Team USA and all the big tournaments growing up. So yeah, I've gotten pretty used to it. And I think that's been a big help to me getting adjusted to pro ball. But, especially in a city like Philly where everybody's rooting for you. The fans are incredible. There's so many of you guys. And I think if you treat it like that and just treat it like they just want to see you do well, then it's a really cool thing.
Dude, are you jonesing to be a part of Red October off of that? I mean, what's it like watching from afar? And then, kind of realizing you could be there this year if things go well. If not this year, we're big 2026 Phils guys, so don't you worry.
Jack's been talking about the 2026 Phils. I'm not kidding, for like 6 years on this podcast.
Yeah, it's already my favorite team. But are you jonesing for like Red October and feeling what CBP is like?
Dude, I can't wait. It's incredible. Growing up a Rays fan, I went to Rays playoff games, and
I'm so sorry, buddy.
That's tough, man. Tough, man. Jeez, who grows up a Rays fan?
Yeah, come on, man. What are we doing?
What's funny is, Aidan, you're hitting on another bit. For a long time here, we were like, we're actually going to be a Rays podcast because they're so smart and they're run so well and all that stuff. But man, I didn't actually think they were actual Rays fans. What a crazy thing.
There's not many of us, but
yeah.
No, but seeing the Philly fan base in those playoff games, and when I went to go there sign in 2023, it was a regular season game. I think they were playing the Padres, and I was like, man, this is just different. This fan base just gets it, and they love baseball here. And I think I had goosebumps the entire game. So it was really cool seeing that and getting to experience that. And I just can't wait to see what it's like in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's
There's nothing like it.
There's nothing like it. Now,
it's really nothing like it, honestly.
Now this year was brutal. But we'll fight our way through it. It was just a bad year. We're already on in 2025 and eventually 2026. But I guess if obviously there's people that listen to our podcast, there's us that know about Aidan Miller. But for like the general fan out there, that what is Philadelphia getting in Aidan Miller?
Man, I'd say the biggest thing is they're getting a gamer. Somebody who loves playing, somebody who's a winner and has a knack for that spotlight. And I've always played to win, and I just love being out there on the field. And, that's what I'm all about. I love baseball. It's all I think about. I live, eat, sleep baseball. So Philly's getting a gamer and a guy who loves Philly and can't wait to experience it.
What was the draft process like? Because listen, I did have one guy from the Cubs email me in 2012, and it was
what a flex.
Yeah, that's all I got. So me and you did not share the same kind of draft experience. Again, you being on Team USA at 12 years old. But what was the draft process kind of like? What kind of a grind is it? And like, were you just excited for it to be over because it seems like you have to interview with these teams all the time? What was the draft process kind of like?
It was really fun, but I'll say I'm glad I'll never have to go through it again. The whole injury my senior year of high school kind of threw everything off. So I was super excited for the draft process, playing my high school senior year. And then my first game my senior year, I broke my handmade bone. So I kind of had it all taken away from me. So it was a lot of, questions and, what my future would look like if I was going to go to college or sign later in the draft. And, I think I was healthy around late May, June. So I started doing some draft workouts and, ultimately showed teams that I was healthy and I was ready to go. And was like, hey, guys, I'm the same guy I was 4 months ago. A broken hand, it's not going to change anything. So it was crazy, though. I mean, there was a lot of talks about me going higher than I did. And we
know.
Yeah,
Jack couldn't believe that you were falling to us. It was like I can't even tell you the excitement.
Well, it was awesome. I mean, not many people know this, but I didn't even talk to Philly at all. I didn't have any draft interviews or workouts with Philly.
Wow.
So it was a surprise to my agent and me on draft night when they called, and I was super excited. I think it's also a blessing too when you go like later in the draft. Especially in the first round, you're going to the better teams, the teams that have history of winning, and they're picking later in the first round for a reason. It's because they're good. So I was glad I went to the back end of the first round instead of the top because you're going to a better organization.
Well, I will say this. I think obviously it sucked that you had to go through it, but I'm very glad you broke your handmade bone. So it was a blessing for us as well. But draft night, I think
it's funny too, because the whole process, Jack kept just saying like, I think people are scared of the handmade bone. He's like, I don't get it. I can't believe it. People are just ignoring everything else, looking at the handmade bone. This is great.
Hey, I didn't get it either.
Yeah. Well, and I wonder, you go 27. Obviously, I think you should have been like the 12 to 18 range, but whatever. You go 27. As you are perceived falling, are you using that as motivation, or did you look at it as, like I end up going to a better organization, or like is it a chip on your shoulder, or something like I'm just happy to be here?
Yeah, 100%. Also, another thing is I can't really blame any of the scouts because they couldn't see me play. So, the draft is so model based, and me being 19 as well was a lot of red flags. But no, I definitely use that as motivation now. And looking back, I think in 5 or 6 years from now, I think people are going to be wondering why I went so late in the first round.
Yeah, I think people are already wondering that, man. I mean, like, just look at the prospect list. I want to go kind of back to something you were talking about before when you're talking about being a gamer and you love this spotlight. And are you that kind of player who, you want to get up in the ninth with runners on and you're down? Jack knows that he's going to laugh at me, but I'm a big, like, I've always talked about guys' heartbeats like slower in the moment. Like for years, I've been like, some dudes that when they get in that moment, their heart just beats slower. They're more calm. They're more confident. And they're going to be more likely to come through in those spots. Is that something you've always craved? And is that kind of how you feel in those moments?
Yeah, that's exactly it. I think there was a good quote from John Jones. He said, when you're in those moments and your heart's beating faster and the pressure might be getting to you, I think that's when you're most powerful. And it's so true. And I think some people just have a knack for that. And, if there's a bases loaded, bottom of the ninth, down by 3, like I want to be up in that situation. I want to be the guy hitting. And I just think it's so fun. That's what sports and baseball is all about is those situations. And I just think those moments are awesome and so fun.
Well, so I'm happy you said that because you might not know this, but there is a level of pressure on you that is honestly unfair and really tough to live up to. I don't know if you know the history of being a Fritz guy and the real pressure to perform in the past times that Jack has, potentially torpedoed careers. People have recovered, but, what does it feel like to have the weight of being right now, like the Fritz guy, much less a Fritz guy?
No, I'm honored. I try not to go on social media too much, especially during the season. But, when I do, I always see Jack's tweets and it's always showing love and being positive. And my dad,
very level-headed, yeah.
He's very rational. Yeah.
My dad's always like, "Did you see Jack's new tweet?" My whole family's in on you now. They're all following you on social media. And no, I love it. It's just you're showing support, and it means a lot to me. So I appreciate it.
Well, listen, man. The first thing I said was like, Aidan Miller rakes. What are we doing? At 27, it's a joke. So last year you went from Clearwater. When you left Clearwater, I'm pretty sure you led the league in doubles and total bases and all that. You 19-year-old, you might have been 20 at that point, but you were obviously first year playing minor league baseball. You jumped to Jersey Shore and you got off to a bit of a slow start before really picking it up and eventually moving your way to Reading. What do you think happened when you went from Clearwater to Jersey Shore and you might have started a little bit slow?
Yeah, I think all it was like my real first taste of failure. My first taste of failure in baseball and just being out there on the field and not getting the results I wanted. It was tough for me for a little bit, and I was scuffling, trying to do too much, trying to press a little bit, and ultimately try and change things when things didn't need to be changed. And I think it really started when I was up there in my first week or so. I had a lot of unlucky outs, line outs and hard outs. And, I kind of used the results as like, oh, I need to go early in the cages tomorrow or stay later and hit after the game. And that kind of led me down like a deeper path where I was struggling even more. And ultimately I got out of it, which is good. But
it snowballed on you a bit. It snowballed a little bit is the idea.
For sure, yeah. It was a typical baseball slump that I think I let get to me a little bit more than I should have. And
it's like sometimes the ball's a beach ball and sometimes it's like a pebble, right?
Oh, it was a pebble, yeah. But I'm glad it happened early in my career, because I think when it happens again, I'll be able to get out of it. And slumps are gonna happen in baseball, and it's just how you get out of it. So,
it's a game of failure. It's the best in the world. These days you get 29-30% of the time you get a hit. It's as good as it gets. It's wild.
I feel like we have to update that, by the way, because
that's why I said 29-30. I said the best. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, it's like we used to say like 33% of the time, whatever. Like, yeah.
Well, listen, if you walk a good amount, we got to factor into the new. You're a Hall of Famer if you're walking at 350 OBP kind of clip. But one of the guys that you obviously played with at Jersey Shore and then up in Reading is Justin Crawford. What's it been like kind of getting to know him? Obviously drafted a year before you. And have you guys kind of talked about, living out the dream and you two being part of the future up in Philadelphia?
Yeah, he's a stud. I love playing with Justin, and I think he's a big leaguer playing minor league baseball right now. Everything about him, just how he goes about his business and his work off the field, and it's really fun to watch. Everything he does is to get him to the next level. And, his dad being Carl Crawford obviously helps a little bit. But I'm always asking him questions about the process. And, I feel like I bug him a lot asking him so many questions. But he's been a great help to me. And he's a great friend to me as well. And he's had such a great he had such a great year. And it's fun watching him play.
Well, and you guys also went out to the Futures game together, which is crazy. That's a huge stage. You guys are at the All-Star game. Kind of what was the Futures game experience like for you?
That was really cool. It felt like we were big leaguers for 3 days. From the food to the hotel, the locker room, everything about it, our coaching staff. It was just such a cool experience, and I was glad my whole family came out to watch me as well. And I was honored. That was one of my goals going into the season, was to make the Futures game, and I'm glad it happened in my first year, and it was really cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's a real honor, especially in your first year at your age. Like, that's a really, really neat thing. Aidan, Philadelphia, we talked a little bit about Red October and the fans, but I know you're not here yet, but, with, that being the goal and the track you're on to be playing in the city, what do you know about the city? What are your expectations of the city? Have you thought at all about like living in the city and being a part of Philadelphia?
Yeah, all I needed to see was when you guys brought out 2,000 people to Wilmington for a minor league baseball game. I think it was also the first ever minor league baseball roll call.
Yes.
In history.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
Just seeing all that. I mean, there's just so much support and so much love for the baseball team in Philly, and I just can't wait. I was going to go to a playoff game if they made it to the World Series and experience what it was like, but hopefully next year I get to be on the field to experience it. So,
well, real quick with the Wilmington thing before we move on, what was that like for you? You said, what was it like to get a roll call in a single leg game? I agree with you. I've never heard of that, but and Justin too. Like, did you guys talk about that too? What was that experience like?
That was so cool. Something funny that happened too is I think I started off 0 for 2, 0 for 3, and I was going on deck for my fourth at bat, and I heard one of the fans were there like, "Oh, we're gonna trade you now!" Like,
oh, nice.
And then
that was not me.
I was just about, you beat me. I was gonna be like, that was actually Jack.
Yeah, I was right there. Yep.
And then I think I had an RBI single, and it came back.
You did. We remember it well.
Came back for my fifth at bat, and they're like, "We're not trading you anymore. We love you." And I was just like, "Oh, this is awesome. That's what it's all about." So
that sounds about as Philadelphia as it gets, baby.
Nice,
well, and what's so funny is I think I missed your first at bat because it was the line to get into that stadium.
They weren't ready for it.
They weren't ready for it.
The line to get in the stadium, and also like the lines for like concessions and all that. It was insane because I
almost lost my father-in-law.
There were so many people there. Yeah, my wife was away for like an hour, and my daughter's like, "Where the hell's mom?" And I'm like, "I don't know." Yeah,
it was brutal. It was brutal, man. And I will say, I think it took you a little second. How long do we had a roll call for? Before Aidan gave us a little thumbs up.
It was good.
How embarrassed we were?
Figuring out what to do. You see all the Yankees.
We're like, can he hear us?
Yeah.
Oh, I heard you guys.
Do we need to be louder? That would have been a disaster. That would have been a disaster. But one thing I'm curious about, obviously you seem like a pretty goal-driven guy. You set big goals. What's your main goal in 2025? And what are you kind of working on this offseason to get even better in this upcoming year?
Yeah, I think my biggest goal in 25 is to eventually make it to the big leagues. And, I think my goals are pretty high. And if your goals aren't, then I don't think they're big enough. So something I'm working on is really my all-around game, but especially my defense. I want to prove that I can stick on the left side of the infield and, clean up little things here and there. But really the all-around game, I think it's just getting more experience out in the field, just getting more reps and, eventually getting more comfortable with the whole thing. And I think, once that happens and I realize that I belong there, then it's going to be fun.
You just led into what I was going to ask about sticking on the left side of the infield. Have you thought a lot about, first and foremost, to the point of I want to get to the big leagues quick. Obviously, it's going to take versatility. You're going to be able to fit in where you need to and all that type of stuff. How comfortable do you feel playing third, playing other positions? Do you think you plan, is the goal to stay at short long term? Like, how much have you thought about being versatile defensively and like you said, your goal of wanting to stay on the left side?
Yeah, I think I've been pretty versatile my whole life. I've kind of been a utility guy for all the teams I've played on. I played third base in high school. I played right field for Team USA, right and left field, played a little bit of center field. So I think I can play anywhere, and I feel pretty comfortable everywhere out on the diamond. And
I love this.
Yeah, I think it's super important nowadays. It's so valuable to have a guy that can play everywhere and is comfortable doing that. And, I want to be that guy, and I think I've always been that guy.
That's awesome.
So, obviously you grew up in Florida, and you would think you don't have a real connection to the city of Philadelphia, but you grew up right around the corner, essentially from Baycare Ballpark. How weird was it going there as a kid? I'm sure you went to some spring training games, and then having to start your whole minor league career at the ballpark you kind of grew up going to.
That's wild.
Yeah, it was pretty surreal. When I heard my name on draft night and I was going to Philly and realizing that spring training was going to be right in my backyard, it was pretty cool. And I've been trying to find the picture for the longest time, but when I went to Baycare way back then, I ran out on the field. I think it was with Utley, but it was when Howard, Utley, all those guys were there. I took the field with them for the national anthem. You know how all the kids do.
Yep.
And there's a picture out there somewhere. I got to find it. But no, I mean, growing up, going to games at Baycare, watching Philly spring training, going to some Threshers games as well. And it was pretty surreal. And I couldn't really believe it for a while.
Well, and you got to stay at home too. You were able to just
yeah, what a thrill that is.
Yeah,
like you just said, he has to start doing laundry now. It's
home cooked meals, sleeping.
Hey, let me tell you, you did take advantage of that stuff as long as you can. It's never a bad thing. All right, Aid, and thank you so much for taking the time and obviously giving us a bunch of time, especially on a football Sunday, which we'll get to in a minute. But let's do a little rapid fire, kind of quick hitters to finish out here at the end to get to know you a little bit outside of baseball too. What do you like to do for fun outside of baseball? What are your hobbies? Are you a movie guy? Are you a music guy? Like, what are you into outside of baseball?
Man, it's gonna sound boring, but it's really just baseball. Like
my man,
when I'm not playing, I'm working out, I'm hitting in the cages. It's really all I've done since I was a little kid, and I want to be the best so bad that I feel like I really haven't had time to do much else. So, but I love it. I think if you love it, then you're in a good spot. So, I mean, I watch movies here and there. Watching Breaking Bad, it's one of my
favorite
shows.
There you go. There you go.
When it's wind down time, I can sit back for a little bit, but it's really just baseball.
That's great.
Who's your favorite non-baseball sports team?
Packers.
There we go.
I'm glad you said that. So, and you have to answer this honestly because we don't lie to our listeners. Jordan,
that's one of our ethoses here. We do not lie to the IOPS listeners.
I'm an unrealistic Packers fan too.
There you
go.
Good.
Right, yeah. Well, in Philadelphia, we're very realistic about it.
Yeah. That's all we are. Yeah. Jordan Love or Jalen Hurts?
So are we starting the team and we get to pick one?
It's okay. There's only one right answer. It's okay.
Jack and I disagree on this. You might find the Jag is on your side of the coin here. Here's what I'll say. When we just asked Aidan, what do you like to do for fun, hobbies, whatever, he's like, this is going to sound boring, but baseball. You know who that reminds me of? Jalen Hurts. So I'll say.
He's a winner.
All he cares about is football. Now, Jordan Love's good too.
I gotta go with Love.
Yes.
Me and my brother Love. We love watching him play, and
he's great.
Love Rogers. So he flashes so many signs of Rogers, some of his throws, and he throws a lot of picks. But I think he makes up for it with all his good throws. So
totally agree.
It's closer than a lot of people think. Hurts has done more. He's accomplished more, but I think Love is right behind him. So
we'll get you on WIP one of these days to break it down. We'll break it down.
By the time he's in the majors, he'll be like, oh, Jalen, that's my
obviously
dude.
Jalen.
It'll be good. What's your favorite meal?
It's got to be some kind of burrito, like Chipotle. I have a good taco spot near my house called Zimzari. I get some chicken tacos. I love Mexican food, so something with that.
It's the best. Now, when he came to Philly, did they make you go get a cheesesteak? Did you have a Philly cheesesteak? Was it all was hyped up to be?
We had Angelo's 2 or 3 times, and it was
that's a good one. That's great. Yeah,
it jacked me up for 2 or 3 weeks after.
For sure.
Oh yeah. You're not used to it like us. Good. Yeah. No, they are great. So who's going back to your baseball is everything. Who was your favorite player growing up? And were there any players you kind of model your game after or anything like that?
Yeah, I'm a big Longo guy. Evan Longo. So
yeah,
I followed him.
We beat him in the World Series in 08. Yeah. Just saying.
Yeah. No, but I remember waiting outside the field after he'd raise games and waiting for his autograph and just trying to be like him. And, I started playing third base because of him. And
That's cool.
I love following him. I think he's such a great guy too. And he's a great.
He seems like a really good dude. Yeah. It's always nice.
I wish the D-backs won last year after they beat the Phillies so he'd get a ring. But it was good to see them lose too after beating us.
Yeah. Also, that was a cool resurgence for him though. He came through for them a lot too.
Sure. Unbelievably smooth right-handed swing. Just an unbelievably smooth right.
And he was a great defensive player too. He's a great fielder too. I mean, number 1 pick in the draft. Like he was a dude, man.
He's one of the most underrated guys, I think, of that.
Yeah.
Of that time. So.
And he was good right away too. Like as a young, came up, bang. Anyway.
Oh yeah.
So we are, we've had a lot of movements on this show. I would like to say that we are responsible for hiring Brian Barber. We forced the Phillies to do that. We forced the Phillies to sign
Bryce Harper. Bryce Harper. I mean, I love how he leads with Barber, Mattingly, who we love. We brought Bryce Harper to Philly. No big deal.
Sure. No big deal. What is we love Preston Mattingly. What is one word?
Honestly, we love Brian Barber and Preston Mattingly more than Bryce Harper. Just don't tell Bryce that.
One word to describe Preston Mattingly.
Ooh, that's tough. I mean, I would say grinder. He is just like he's always around at the facility checking on us. He was always at our games this year. He's just always involved and asking questions, asking how we're doing, and he's just the man. I'm lucky to have him as our guy, and I love talking to him, and I've learned so much from him, and he's awesome.
What's the best Phillies jersey? Is it the cream? Is it the pinstripe? Is it the road grays? City Connects? Maroon?
Pinstripe. What'd you say?
Sure. The clean pinstripe.
So the pinstripes
the
and the
powder blues.
The powder blues are fire.
Yeah,
I like
for
all
sure.
of them. I mean, they're all good. I don't like the City Connects. I'm out on those, but
well, listen, only the hat's great.
See, you're like a VIP caller. You're like right on point. You're just ready to top right in here. Well, Aidan, I know we said it a bunch of times, but thank you so much for taking the time. And I know you mentioned, but I hope you do know how much, like, certainly the podcast community, I hope all our listeners and Phillies fans are behind you and excited for you to look. We all want you up this year too. So your goal is our goal. But that don't be a stranger to this pod. Now that you've come on, you're a friend of the pod. We're gonna have to, keep bringing you on as it goes here. But we're just psyched, man, and we're really looking forward to your career and to having you here in the city. And thanks for taking the time today, man.
No, thank you guys. I really appreciate it. It's been fun chatting, and thank you again for all the support you guys show and all the love I see on Twitter. And it's really cool, and it means a lot to me.
Appreciate
awesome,
you, buddy.
Man. Yeah, go enjoy the Packers. I think if we could all root for them to beat the Lions today. We're on the same team.
Yeah, hopefully, I do enjoy it.
Yes.
It'll work out hopefully for all of us. All right, buddy. We'll talk to you soon, and good luck, and we'll talk soon. Thanks, Aidan.
Thanks, guys. All right.